Just over 2 years ago, a peaceful morning at Kibbutz Nahal Oz was interrupted as terrorists flooded into the community. By dusk on October 7th, 66 members of the kibbutz and neighboring base would be murdered, 18 hostages taken. But this was not the first time that violence had visited the kibbutz. 67 years prior, in 1956, the kibbutz was to host 4 weddings on one weekend in April. Those weddings would be canceled. The morning before, one of the residents was ambushed, killed, and his mutilated body dragged back to Gaza. In 1956, Moshe Dayan, who had traveled to Nahal Oz to celebrate a wedding, would instead deliver a eulogy, one of Israel's most well-known speeches. He said, "Hundreds of thousands of eyes and arms huddle together and pray for our coming weakness, so that they may tear us to pieces. Have we forgotten this? Don't we know that in order for the hope of our destruction to perish, we must be armed and ready morning and night. We must not avert our gaze, lest our hands be weakened." The words Dayan spoke 70 years ago ring true today, and the threat he mentioned persists. But it's not just on Israel's border. It's not just on some other continent. It is here, in this country, in Pittsburgh, in Washington, D.C., in Boulder, Colorado. Will we avert our eyes? Will our hands be weakened? Or will we, as Dayan implored, work to be ready? My name is Michael Masters. I am the National Director and CEO of the Secure Community Network, or SCN, a nonprofit organization created after 9/11 to serve as our community's safety and security organization here in North America. I've had the honor of serving in 4 uniformed services in my life, from the Marine Corps and law enforcement to Homeland Security. Thank you. The first one was a bit of a shock to my mother's Jewish sensibility, but she's getting over it. I now have the honor of leading SCN's team of intelligence, security, and law enforcement professionals who are working every single day to serve and protect our community, and it has never been more necessary. As we've heard, screams to globalize the intifada on our campuses, officials who support the slogans of terrorist organizations in our city councils. In this environment, we must steady our hands and strengthen our gaze, each and every one of us. It's an honor to join you here today. I'm humbled to stand in this room as an American, as a Jew. I want to thank you all for your incredible patriotism. My special thanks to Matt Brooks, my good friend Ari Fleischer, and Abby Friedman for their friendship and leadership in our community. When Jews are in danger, whether around the world or in Israel, we come together. We must do so now because Jews are in danger here at home, and we must make a choice to allow fear to win and hatred to prevail, or to stand strong. The choices we make in rooms like this and as individuals are going to determine what our Jewish community, and indeed this country, looks like for generations to come. On Passover, our youngest read out 4 questions. 4 questions to explain the story of our Exodus. I'm going to give you 4 other questions. 4 questions to ask yourself every time you enter in a room. 4 questions whose answers may keep you alive. 1, if I asked all of you to close your eyes right now, how many of you could tell me how many exits are in this room? And where are they? Do you know how to get out if there was a fire or if it was dark? 2, what are the potential threats, either from people or objects? 3, what would you do if you were taken hostage, like our community members in Colleyville, Texas, several years ago? And 4th, what would you use to defend yourself against a terrorist? Silverware? A fire extinguisher? Starbucks? If any of you had been trained by our team at SCN, you would know the answers to those questions. We have to live like we will not know the time and place of the next incident. But the one thing that all of us can control, the one thing in our control, is our preparation. And if we have learned anything from over 3,500 years as Jews, it's that we need to be prepared. At SCN, we are working so you can be prepared. Just like Israel has an Iron Dome, we are working to build a security shield over the Jewish community in North America. We are literally an FBI specifically for the Jewish community. And for much of SCN's history, we did our work very quietly behind the scenes with law enforcement. But we can no longer be silent about our security, not when our adversaries are screaming down our halls and on our campuses. 2 weeks ago, law enforcement arrested Mahmoud al-Muhtadi for participating in the October 7th massacre in Lafayette, Louisiana. How many more Muhtadis are there out there in this country? We cannot hope our enemies don't find us. We need to find them first, and we need to be prepared. And that's what SCN is doing, and we need all of you to help. 7 years ago, we had 4 employees and $1 million budget to protect Jewish North America. Today, we have 130 employees, security and intelligence experts, and a budget of close to 30 million. We are working in over 550 communities, from large to small, urban to rural, across all 50 states, and with over 13,000 Jewish institutions, from synagogues and day schools to community centers and overnight camps. Chances are most of you in this room are protected by us when you go to synagogue, whether you're aware of us or not. At our 24/7 command center in Chicago, our intelligence analysts are using AI-enabled technology to monitor the surface, deep, and dark web, identifying individuals every day who pose a threat to our community. We then work with law enforcement to stop them. Cases just like this one. It'll come. Oop, there we go. I did too fast. August, July 31st in Atlanta, Georgia. An individual showed up at the campus of the Jewish Federation. He was encountered by security. His comment, "I'm the official representative of the white race and I'm here to negotiate with you." In law enforcement, we call that a clue that something is off. The security personnel at that federation took down this individual's license plate. They took pictures of him. They sent it to our command center in Chicago, where our team of analysts identified the individual, de-anonymized his social media accounts, and identified any number of threats that he was making towards the Jewish community. Not just these, but pictures of himself with firearms and making other threats as well. We worked to put an alert out to all 34 Jewish institutions in the greater Atlanta metro area, thanks to our partnership with the Atlanta Police Department, brave men and women who serve in law enforcement. They increased their patrols to over 80 Jewish facilities within under 90 minutes. But that wasn't all. We worked with law enforcement, and less than 56 hours later, this individual, this offender, was in custody, arrested. Federally charged by the U.S. Attorney's Office. In August alone, we worked on cases that led to arrests from Atlanta, Georgia, like this one, to Glendale, Arizona, and from San Antonio to Virginia Beach. Just this week, we helped identify this individual. He was arrested within hours in Alabama. That gun and that ammunition's not for duck hunting. But we don't stop there. We develop physical security recommendations for our facilities. We provide training to empower our community. In the last year, assessments of over 700 Jewish institutions, training for over 40,000 members of our community. And if you're not one of them, please get in touch. But our task is getting harder every single day, which is why we need your help and support. I'd be honored to meet with you. While I'm here, please find me after my remarks. We want to work with you and in your communities. Since well before October 7th, the Jewish community has been in a war. And in this war, our adversaries don't want to understand us. They're not interested in changing our minds. They're interested in ending us. But our enemies will only be successful if we let them. The matriarch of my family, my grandmother, passed away in April at 97 years old. She was an amazing woman, driving our family's Jewish involvement and philanthropy for over 7 decades. She was a true Lion of Judah, and boy, could she roar. And while she received many accolades for her efforts to support our community over the years, it was not through awards that she wished to be remembered. It was in life lessons. 15 years ago, when I got married, she gave us a letter written by her father, dated June 24th, 1939. It was to the heads of the American Joint Distribution Committee. Dear sirs, of all the great humanitarian services that our organization has rendered to the Jewish people, its accomplishments in connection with the St. Louis episode is one of the most outstanding. Not only did you save the 937 unfortunate homeless wandering souls from despair and probable death, but you brought great mental health to millions upon millions of other people who were filled with anguish and hopelessness concerning this cargo of human beings. Your accomplishments should remain in the history of human activities for centuries to come. Let us hope that we will not have to read any more of such horrors perpetrated against our community or any others in the world. Sadly, our great-grandfathers' hope would not be the reality, either in the years after 1939, when much greater horrors came to light, or today. My grandmother's lesson, Nani to me, Mrs. Horwich to everybody else, in sharing this letter was simple. When Jews are in danger, we're obligated to help, wherever they may be, whatever the cost. 86 years ago, we found safe harbor for those wandering souls of the St. Louis. Today, we must invest in security to ensure that we can remain strong here in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. We must invest to show our adversaries and enemies that we will be wandering souls no more. We must keep our mezuzot up. We must wear our Magin Davids. We must ensure our kids can march in defense of freedom. 56 years ago, Golda Meir stood in the Knesset and noted that we refuse absolutely to be the only people in the world which consents to have its fate decided by others. Let's be sure our enemies hear us and know they will not decide our fate. We are not going anywhere. We are here to stay with strength and courage. Hazak ve'emetz. Thank you very much.